Welcome to Band Bourbon and Cigars, where we talk marching band stories and life situations. I am your drum major of the podcast, Mr. Reggie Anderson. We have Mr. 10 himself, Herb Lenore, the rock of the podcast. And oh, look what we have today, young man. We have Fancy Flo over here. Hey, Miss Hula Hoop Queen herself. Hey, y'all don't know about it, you better get in with it. Before we get started, listen here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Hey, put a couple of comments in there, man, so we can talk about those things. There ain't nothing wrong with that. All right. Hey, listen here. We have one of these, this guest today, let me tell you. This guy here, that's all I'm going to say. This guy's born and raised in Atlanta, GA. He played baseball, soccer, and he marched in the high school marching band. He became the section leader of his high school marching band, and he's a member of the Iota Mu chapter, the Masters of Motivation, Kappa Kappa Psi National Honorary Band Fraternity. He's a father of 3 beautiful children. He has worked multiple jobs as a manager to make sure his family is secure. He has performed all around Charlotte, North Carolina with the company band. His stage name goes by Mr. Warren Saxx. He continues to work for the greater good, which is called music. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you, drum roll, Mr. Warren Saxx. That's what's up, man. What's going on, man?
What up? Man, what a wonderful intro. That was amazing, dude.
Hey, man, you know I do what I do, baby. You know
Showtime, freak show in the building, baby.
Hey, man, they don't know about that, man. They don't know about that.
We do. We know.
They don't know about that. It's showtime. Hey, man, hey, things get started the way we get started. Listen, first
That's right.
You hard-head nigga. I mean, brother. You hard-head brother. You supposed to be on the computer somewhere. Why you in your car, man?
Well, I'm on a gig, actually, hour away from Charlotte. We just got done with a sound check. We were actually running 2 hours behind, no fault of my own. So my apologies, but I'm so excited to be here.
That's what's up. For the panel members, where everybody on the panel members know, but except for Fancy. This is my line brother right here, KK Side. And when I tell you Wild Boy, this is Wild Boy right here. Now he's a better man today than he was back then, but he's Wild Boy. Hey, I'm quite sure we about to get into some good stories here, boy. Because when I'm talking about this man here,
I can't wait to hear these stories.
Look, wild is what wild does, right?
Wild is what wild does. hey, it don't matter. It just don't matter.
Hey, life keep going, man. You gotta enjoy it because we're only here one time.
That's right, YOLO, baby.
That's true.
YOLO.
YOLO.
So, are you able to share with us a little bit about the gig that you're on today, like who you're performing with? Are you able to say?
Yeah, so I'm actually with this band that I've been performing with off and on for about at least 7 years. The name of the band is Diverse Groove. It's actually ran by a vocalist, entertainer named Lamar Brace. He's on the Southern Soul circuit.
Okay.
But he's an awesome guy. You know, he has given me the opportunity to actually grow with the band. So I've been actually hitting with him consistently for at least 7 years. Took about a year off. I had a car accident. I wanted to rearrange some things in my life, and the band life at that time was causing me to do a little more than what I need to be doing in my comfort zone. We can get into that later on, but here I am. I'm actually on this gig. We just did the sound check, and so now we're able to disperse, and we'll be back on at actually 6:45. The show starts at 7.
Okay.
Hey, that's what's up.
Sounds very exciting.
Oh, it is. It's an exciting journey. You know, music has been a key to my success, actually.
Okay.
So when was it, man, that you really knew that music was going to be your thing? When was it that you first picked that instrument up? Was there anybody that, directed you to that? How was the family dynamics with that?
So I grew up around, of course, rappers and DJs, the birth of hip hop, actually. So, you know, everyone was playing Run DMC, walking around with the boom box and all that. But my father, when I started the 6th grade, he actually purchased me or rented me a saxophone. And didn't know too much about it, but I was very excited about it because it was this unique gold instrument. Had no idea what it was, but it was something new for me to learn. And I remember my mom kicking me outside to go practice in the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, as Mr. Chambers said back in the day, he said the saxophone is a bastard instrument.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know how to play it. So, you know, she was like, oh, Lord, I love you, but you got to go outside with that thing. And in retrospect, you know, once I got to high school, it just opened up doors. So I got into the marching band. And long story short, Mr. Chambers actually came to my high school to audition me for the actual marching band. I got a scholarship, and the rest is history.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I remember the same thing, man. Playing my instrument when I first started playing, Mom told me to go in the basement. I went in the basement. Then she told me to go outside.
Right.
Go down the street. I was like, man, I'm just gonna put this shit up.
Man, I used to practice in the middle, the island on West Grand Boulevard. She went from the basement to the backyard. She like just going out there. So I would just be in the middle of the island, marching back and forth, playing my baritone.
Wow.
The neighborhood
We all held those in.
Like a cover or a towel on top of the horn.
Oh, well, you might be on to something. You might be on to something like a little mute or something like that.
Because you can do that. Because like my bass guitar, I can get the in ears and practice where it's not disturbing anybody in the house. But
right.
All right, we got a bass player in the building. Oh shoot!
I do a little something on the bass. I pretty much.
That's what's up.
Anything I do is look at it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's okay. Repetition. That's all it takes. Repetition. Muscle memory.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna get back into it. But you know,
That's what's up.
Yep. So it seems like I'm the only person that is unfamiliar to you and what instruments you played. I'm very intrigued about hearing these stories that you and Reggie got from college. But I'm gonna start with a couple of questions here. Can you share with us your favorite childhood memory and of marching band?
My favorite childhood memory of marching band. I'm telling you, it wasn't a childhood memory, but let's go back. Let's say childhood. I'll say childhood. So we're talking about childhood. That would be 6th, 7th grade. And I was actually given the solo to what's that Christmas song? Dun 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 dun. Carol Bells, right? Carol of the Bells.
I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Carol of the Bells. Yes. So I was actually, yep. So I was actually given the solo to do that because no one else could. And so right then and there, I knew that I had a gift. And so that was one of my best memories of my youth in band. We actually had a concert at a high school down the street that we fed into. And so for me to showcase my ability then, you know, it had already put me on notice.
That's good. What about you guys? Y'all got a favorite childhood marching band memory or band memory?
Mine was always walking up and down the street, coming out of school, just playing our horns going from the school all the way to my house.
That's what's up.
Saxophone, trombones, trumpet, snare drum, loud as hell, walking down the street, walking straight down Warren, all the way to my house, just playing. All the way to the
Straight down Warren.
Yeah.
All right, that's what's up.
That reminds me of, there was a guy I went to college with, rest his soul. His name is Jonathan Johnson. He passed away, I think it was about 2 years ago on 9/11. But I met him when I was in college. He didn't play instruments, but he was a vocalist. He was a singer. And I eventually joined his family's church. And that's the church that I speak of when I say my church, because I was there for so many years. But I remember hearing stories from his family members of him setting up his like G.I. Joes and different little figures like that in a choir, like a semicircle. And he would be conducting choir because he was a singer. He would do this at like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you know. Mm-hmm. So I feel like sometimes what's in you is going to start to show when you're younger, if your adults around are paying attention. And when you mentioned about your childhood, that's the first thing that popped in my head. The stories I heard of him conducting choir with his sister's Barbie dolls, his little G.I. Joe. He would have them standing up in a little semicircle and be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is so true, though. They say that you become who you are within the first 7 years of your life, something like that. Don't quote me, but I know it's during your early childhood development where you become who you're actually going to be in adulthood.
Yep. And it's really important that the adults around you nurture it. But a lot of times adults are so busy with adulting, they don't see those things, you know. And that's when
Correct.
teachers usually see it, because our focus is the student when they come into our classroom. And so we're able to kind of nurture that, you know.
Yeah, that's because a lot of them, a lot of adults don't see the benefit in playing that instrument at that particular age, not understanding that that instrument is going to pay that child's way through college. That instrument is going to pay some rent. You know what I'm saying? That house note.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Take care of everything. So you don't realize that until you get older. But a lot of parents don't know that, man. That's why I'm glad we have this podcast, because we can have those conversations and let people know and remind them, hey, playing an instrument can take your child a long way and take you up out of those neighborhoods that we grew up in and put them and place them in different atmospheres so that we're not getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us would have been in prison or dead in the neighborhoods that we was growing up in. You know what I'm saying? If we didn't have marching band or them instruments. And speaking of that, Vale, do you mind if I call you Vale? I know that you just said you went back to Warren.
No, I'm whatever, whoever, and whenever to anybody that knew me from whenever time it is. You know, it's not no correction going on here. You know how some people say, I'm Warren now. I'm Warren now. No, I'm still Vale. I'm still whatever. You know, it's all good.
All right, Belly B's. Then
Belly B's in the building, baby.
But listen,
hey, I just did yeah.
But listen, when we're talking about, you know what I'm saying, environments and stuff like that, tell us a little bit about your environment, you know what I'm saying, where you was growing up and how you had to grow up. And then that's question number one. Question number two, was anybody in your family, you know what I'm saying, musicians that helped you even get to this point where you at?
All right, well, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, Grady baby. Yes, sir. I remember my first memories as a toddler was over my grandmother's house, because my mom stayed with my grandmother. And so I had three uncles that helped raise me. So I learned how to become a man through my father and my three uncles. She was very intelligent. My mom was very intelligent, but she was addicted to alcohol. And so that led us on a rocky road, you know, back and forth from grandmother. Fortunately for me, though, I had a village. I had my mom's parents, and then I had my father's parents. So I was basically raised simultaneously among both of those families. So when I wasn't with my grandmother on my mother's side, I was with my grandmother on my father's side. So I continuously had that engagement, which I was fortunate for. Although my parents didn't live together, you know, I still had access to them. So, you know, I grew up in the hood. So on one hand, my grandmother, they had a house. My grandfather was able to purchase a home. You know, as a black person back in the 70s, 80s, to have your own home, you know, I always remember the house that my grandparents stayed in. My grandfather worked and retired from Ford. And so he allowed us to have a lot of things that we would not have had. You know, I remember my first dollar that I got, it was from him. You know, grandmama said, go ask your granddaddy for $1. And by that time, I found out what money could get me, and it was over, you know. And he was like, why'd you tell those kids come asking me for some money? You know, because it never stopped. Grandpops always had to throw us $1. You know, it never stopped, you know. And so, but growing up with my mom, will say this, although she was addicted to alcohol and things of that nature, my mom was no joke. And so, you know, I learned how to really take care of myself through my mom kicking my butt, basically. You know, it's crazy, but you know, we were little boys, so she wasn't treating us like little girls. Let's just say that, you know. And so that, long story short, allowed me to be able to take care of myself during situations where, had I not had that background, the outcome could have been differently. And that's, you know, speaking the truth of that situation. So when you look at the bad, you see how it turned into good as well, you know. But she was always fighting, man. I mean, slapping the boyfriends upside the head with ashtrays, fighting the police. You know, it was crazy. And then on the other hand, Pops always had a job. You know, he was a hustler. He was a mechanic. He retired from UPS, actually. So Pops always worked, always came through. He had a good relationship with my mom, you know. He knew she was crazy, so we didn't really fool with her too much, because we knew at one point in time that was going to be something flying across the room. So you didn't really, especially when she was drinking, you know. So I grew up in that type of situation where, you know, I grew up in Atlanta and Decatur. Again, I say simultaneously, because when I wasn't at one, I was at the other.
Yeah.
But I will say, the unfortunate feeling, I'm just going to say this. I remember because of the situation that my mom was in, and when she used to come pick us up, man, listen, I used to go hide. I'd be like, oh, shit. Like, we can't go to that craziness over there, man, because we knew it was going to be some hell going on over there. It was going to be fighting, police, people getting smacked up. It was just going to be crazy. And so when I think back as to why I was always in trouble in elementary school, right? Because I'm like, damn. Every time I turned up, I was getting suspended from school. Parents getting called up to the school for me stealing people's projects off the table. They had little projects and they had little figurines on the table. I'm taking the stuff off the table, to go into class, showing my friends. That's when I first learned about snitches, because I'm like, how does teacher know I got this stuff? Friend on told, the friend on told on me. I'm like, what's going on in here? Like, what? So, when you do dirt, you better do it by yourself, because, somebody's going to tell on you. But, as a young age, that's when I knew, you couldn't do dirt and tell somebody. At the end of the day, I'm not saying that I'm that way now, but just these things, when you're doing things, sometimes you need to do things alone, and it's safer that way.
When you rob a bank,
but yeah, man, I had a...
What'd you say, Hurt?
I said, when you rob a bank, you rob it by yourself.
Exactly. We don't condone robbing banks.
We do not promote robbing banks. We do not promote robbing banks, young children that's watching this podcast. Yes, we do not promote none of that. But back to man, we were fortunate to have strong mothers in our era. You know what I mean? Because my mom's the same way. Even through all the BS that, we went through and sometimes go through, emotionally. But far as, everything being taught from what I needed to learn to be a man and to how to survive out here in the world and by myself and everything, I got all that from my mama. You know what I mean? How to cook, how to clean, how to grocery shop, how to shop, how to put clothes on, all those type of things I got from mom, though. And I brought that up because you said something. I remember my mother saying to me, she was like, listen here, like all your uncles have been to prison. You know what I'm saying? Your daddy,
oh yeah, most definitely.
The guy who I thought was my daddy at the time, he been back and forth through prison. He said, listen, if you do any dirt, you do it by yourself.
That's right, man.
If you get caught, then it's only one lie to tell. That's your lie.
Right.
So don't
exactly.
But what she was really trying to tell me, don't be out here doing no bullshit. Don't be
exactly
in the streets and stuff like that, because people will snitch on you, even your friends. You know what I'm saying?
Even your friends
that you think is your friends, put it that way.
Now, one thing that my mother told me, I remember that sitting on the porch with her and she was drinking and everything on my grandpa's house. We on the car porch. And I said, I'll never drink, And mom said, boy, don't you ever say or never say never.
Yeah.
And I realized that because you never know what type of situation you're going to be in to alter the way that you perceive things. It takes a snap of a finger to change your whole mindset.
It does.
So never say never.
It does. Or environment.
Yeah.
The environment for sure. That's what I wanted to say, the environment.
Yeah. Now, there's one thing that I said that I would never do again, and that's smoke a cigarette.
Again, though. But I feel you.
Better in the beginning. I wasn't told, okay, here's the story. I probably about 4 or 5, between 4 and 6. And one of my uncles had a cigarette. He told me to take this cigarette and go put it in the toilet, in the bathroom toilet. And he said, boy, whatever don't you put that cigarette in your mouth.
And you smoked it.
Well, I went around that kitchen. I went around that wall in that kitchen and hit that thing. He said, did you smoke that cigarette I told you not to smoke? I was like, no. He said, let me smell your breath. Man, he smelled my breath. He tore my ass up. That's the only whooping my uncle ever gave me. That particular uncle. And from that day forth, I vowed never to smoke a cigarette. And I've never smoked a cigarette. And guess what was playing? Guess what song was playing? My Imagination by The Temptations. I never forgot that song with that cigarette.
And that's something right. But think about this. If somebody was to put a gun in your head and say, smoke this cigarette, I bet your ass smoked that cigarette.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Shit.
That motherfucker.
Exactly.
I'm gonna Don't tell them give me 10 packs because I want to hold this situation.
Yeah, that's a different situation. I mean, like, your life is on the line now. It ain't your choice no more.
But we just said your environment, your situation,
You never
Those are
know.
choices
So,
right there.
two things that I wanted to kind of touch on. When you started to talk about your mom's addiction to alcoholism, as you were talking about it, you were kind of laughing, and it jogged my memory to this video I actually saw yesterday on TikTok. And it was making a correlation between people who are funny or who laugh and joke all the time in relation to how their parents might have been. And in that video, they were saying that, if your parents were very strict, or if they had addictions, or if they had this, you tend to be the type of person or kid that laughs and jokes a lot because you're the person that your parent ends up looking to for like some joy and some laughter and things like that. And I also thought about how some vices that my parents had. Although my mama didn't drink, her vice was cigarettes. That's what she did. My grandparents were the drinkers. And when I watched that video, I remembered how, gosh, I usually have a little bit of comedy and stuff like that. People think I'm funny, and I wonder if that's the connection there. Do you think that that's the reason why you probably laughed through as you told that story?
It's just funny when you think about things because when you're in it, it's not funny, But as you go through stuff and they say, time heals all wounds, it's like you can kind of laugh at those things now. Would I want to go back and living like that? Hell no. But it's fun to laugh at it and to remember. And I think the reason why I laugh so much is because I have a temper and I don't like being upset because, it goes way farther than what it needs to sometimes. So I try to just joke and have fun because a lot of times as African Americans, we're always looking for someone to start something. When you meet somebody and you say hello and people giving you the mean mug, and your natural reaction is like, well, fuck you too then, And so I don't like that confrontational environment because I remember growing up and you couldn't even look anyone in the face without somebody thinking you wanted to start something.
Absolutely.
The environment you grew up in.
Exactly. The environment that you grew up in.
And too, what you were saying, Flo, is like some of us smile and laugh through the pain, right? It might be something that's still painful that's there, so I'll smile about it, say and laugh about it. But then I'm also going through therapy myself. My therapist told me like it's not until you able to laugh about things that you've done and your pain, that's when you'll realize that you healed. So like now people be like, Rez, you be so chill that you just be all joking all around. Hey man, you would have had to know what I've been through and came through to understand why I'm so chill now. And I'd rather be happy now and be smiling now. That's why I keep saying it's better being on this side of the track than over there.
Right.
I thought I was having fun when I was drinking and doing all those things that I was doing and setting folks up. You see what I'm saying? But now to be on this side and to be a good person in society, a good person in my life, a good person to my family and others, man, it's beautiful. I want to laugh, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't got that much more time on this earth. We don't know how.
That's right.
We don't know when we're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So
that is so true.
Joyous time while I'm here, and especially around people that I know or that I'm around. So when I go, when you at my funeral, you'll be like, Reg had a funky good time. You always enjoy. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to party and want to make sure that everybody else had a good time.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that video.
Who was your who inspired you, man, to play your instrument, or who inspired you to this day? What's some of your inspirations? Who are some of your inspirations?
So I will say my first inspiration, as far as why I'm playing that saxophone, is my father, because without him putting that in my hand, giving me that as an outlet, none of it would be possible anyway. And then from there, my high school band director, who was a saxophonist, that intrigued me as to say, oh, wow, my leader plays my instrument. That's empowering, And then from there, Mr. Chambers, the classical sound, I had no idea what it meant to be a true saxophonist, and marching band. That's all we did in my inner city high school was marching band and concert band. But there really wasn't any formal training as far as music theory is concerned. So I hadn't had any of that in my background going through school other than learning how to read music and play the sheet music, but not really understanding how to finesse the saxophone, if I may, And so once I got to Kentucky State University, that's when I started hearing the saxophone like it is supposed to be played, and, producing a sound that's pleasant to the ear. And I'm like, man, how in the hell? It was Mr. Chambers and Mr. Butler, Hunt Butler. Those two individuals on the saxophone. And I'm like, because Hunt Butler had the jazz, Mr. Chambers had the classical. And so, well, Mr. Butler had the jazz, and pretty much so the jazz, and then he was my major applied teacher. Very technical player. And Mr. Chambers, with that classical sound, I can really hear that feeling in there, with that vibrato and the warmth of it. And so just bridging those two together actually has made me a great saxophonist. It's still a journey, but I would say those four influences. And then we talk about professionals. We look at Cannonball Adderley, John Coltrane for sure. John Coltrane was a monster on that tenor saxophone. We have, Sonny Stitt, a lot of the greats, Maceo, the godfather of funk saxophone. And then we go into like Gerald Albright, Kurt Whalum, Kenny G. Kenny G has done some things that is amazing, although it's not as people, so the thing about Kenny G is it's really not that hard when you listen to it, what he's doing, but it's the style in which he's playing, and everyone can listen to it and not be wondering what's happening, Okay. So it's easier for people to listen to Kenny G versus a straight up jazz head. They're gonna be like, what is he doing, man? That's so simple. That's so easy. Well, a lot of people, sometimes less is more, And so that's why he's been able to bridge the gap that way. And I respect that, thoroughly, because that's all I've heard coming through the ranks. Oh, Kenny G, man, forget Kenny G. Everybody's going to have their haters, right? When you're doing great, you're going to have those haters. So, shout outs to Kenny G for sure. But then again, just those, Boney James, I like to keep it smooth. That's my style, nice and smooth. I could do straight ahead jazz, but it really hasn't paid the bills like, the smooth jazz and the R&B wedding band situations have.
Right.
Okay. Now you mentioned about major applied to the naked ear. What does that mean when you say he was your major applied professor?
So major applied saxophone, I was a music education major. And so in order to fully understand your instrument, you have to have applied lessons, which is your major applied lessons. Since saxophone was my major, that's what I had to apply myself towards, is becoming a professional saxophonist. And so, we had to go through the ranks of learning all your scales, learning how to play classically, learning how to play, jazz style. That's why I'm so diverse now, actually, because of the training that I had in those major applied lessons to approach each style with its technique. So what major applied is actually applying yourself to be better and professional on your instrument, your main instrument. Right. So you had saxophone major applied, or you could have had your trumpet, your major applied. So your major applied lessons, and then with that you had to do what were they? Juries, or what was it? Concerts. I'm trying to think what they called them, but basically every month you had to get up in front of your peers and you had to perform a piece. And man, I tell you, practicing with Dr. Griffith, man, she was a monster on that piano, boy. Good God Almighty! Listen, it's amazing when you're trained the things that you can do, Yeah. And from somebody that's looking at all this music, and you can see somebody that's looking out at this black and white piece of paper and all these lines and squigglies and stems and sticks, and it makes this beautiful, polyphony, this polyphonic with the piano is polyphony. There's so many different things that can go on, and just practicing with her was amazing. And then you get on stage in front of your peers and you perform, and then you get your applause afterwards. It was very rewarding. So it taught me about. I'm sorry?
Were you ever nervous when you had to perform in front of your peers?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Listen, what? Oh, my God. That was the most nerve-wracking thing for my first time getting up there after practicing for like 2-3 weeks. And you get up there, you stand up there, you about ready to go. Those butterflies are hitting you in the stomach. He's like, all right, here we go. And then she strike that first note and you come in and it's just like a blur.
Yeah. You mentioned a lot of saxophone artists that are professional. But I just wanted to know, are you familiar with Phil Denny?
I am not familiar with Phil Denny.
Okay, he's he. I met him. I didn't know of him prior to me meeting him maybe 10 years ago. But my ex-husband works with a lot of professional musicians, so I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And he's a really good artist. You might look into him too, because I feel like he could have definitely been on this list of people you mentioned. Albright, Whalen, all of them.
Mhm.
I will definitely look him up. But just amazing, what's put on the radio in front of us, right?
Yeah.
We get inundated with the Gerald Albrights and the Kurt Whalums and the Boney James and the Grover Washington. I forget to mention Grover Washington. Amazing. That's one of my most influential saxophone players on the tenor saxophone. Most definitely is Grover Washington Jr. But yeah, I would definitely look him up.
Mhm. What was one of your favorite childhood memories?
One of my favorite childhood memories is when I was actually in the 7th grade and we went on this camping trip for like a week. We left home, went out with the chaperones, went out to this campsite, and we just had a great week, man. Just being out in the woods and being who we are, man, who I am. I mean, I was all into some mischief, and it was just, it was crazy. Sneaking out of the cabins and running around in the woods at night. It was terrible. Got my first kiss. It's crazy.
I know it. Reggie, see, yeah, that's your friend. Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I got my first kiss actually. It was a white girl actually on that adventure. But that was like one of the best memories that I ever had. I remember one of our friends' father was just a asshole. Like he was terrible. It was so bad. Listen, we plotted on this guy so bad. Listen, he was up there running and talking crazy. I don't know how I got away, but I dipped and just went and got out of there. And then I started calling my friends, like telling them you got to go to the bathroom. Man, about 5 of us dipped out. We were out of there. Like we were out on the yard, just out there wilding out, man. They never caught us, dude. It was crazy. I don't even know what made me do that. It was like this dude is whack. I can't be in this room with this guy. We're not having fun. And it's like my innate being just said, "We better get the hell up out of here. Let's go." And it's just like it was just like automatic. It was. And then I, to get my friends in on it. We was laughing so hard about that because we were like, "Damn, they still in there with that asshole. We out here just having a good time, chilling." They didn't even come looking for us. It was like they knew, that he was a dick.
They was probably like, "Oh my gosh, how'd they get out? We want to get out."
Right, exactly. But that was one of the best memories I had because even then I knew that I wasn't for some bullshit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that you grew up in the hood like most of us did. Could you elaborate a little bit more on some of the things that you experienced in your childhood that may have contributed to who you are today?
I'll tell you a funny story. So I remember my mom, she was a hustler too. So she would rent her room out, rent a room out in the house, right? So she had rented this room out to this crackhead. And so we out on the porch one night, chilling. And so we see this dude hauling ass just out, running towards us. So we like, what the hell going on with this cat? And as he gets closer, we like, okay, he on the sidewalk. He getting close to the house now. The hell if he didn't run on the porch and fall on the porch, right? It was the dude that my mom was renting the room to. They done whooped his ass up the street.
Wow.
He come running. He's bleeding. So we pull him in the house, set him on a chair. So the chair, it was a blue chair with red roses on them, right? Little small red roses. He's so high and messed up that he's thinking the little red roses is blood. So he's panicking. Oh my God, I'm bleeding on your chair. I'm so sorry. It was terrible. And we're like, no, man, you all right, dude. You cool. It's just crazy. Just that quick, something popped off. Mom was so crazy. She would get drunk and she'll be walking from wherever she was at. And I remember one time she come home, she had these flowers in her hand. She done dug the flowers out of people's yard and planted them in her yard.
That was nice. I think I like these. Let me go ahead and put these in my house.
Right, exactly. I'm like, are you for real right now? Like, yeah, I like these flowers. Shit. They mine now.
Oh man.
Yeah, mom was a trip boy. She did not play games, man.
Is your mom still with us?
No, she's been dead now for I would say about 10 years.
10 years. Okay. Rest her
Yeah.
soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, she had a great influence on my life though. again, I will say this, without her being there, because it's like she taught me how to defend myself. Between my uncles, even though I had uncles, they really wasn't doing like mom was doing. Mom was punching and putting us in scissor locks and all kind of crazy stuff. We had to get up out of there. And so because of that, the kids in school wasn't experiencing that. So it was like they could tell we were a little rough. My brother and I have a brother. And it was like we were just always the top dogs. Even though I was small in stature, it was like nobody wanted to mess with me. But that also got me in trouble because becoming a bully with seeing that fear, right? You become a predator. And I've got my ass kicked a couple of times because of that. And that's when I realized you don't mess with quiet people. If somebody's quiet, you don't go fucking with them. Leave their ass alone.
He was a predator.
When you see your bullies, that's what bullies are. Bullies are predators,
Yeah.
I know.
So what I'm gathering from this part of the conversation is that it's a good thing that I play fight with my son and I literally be giving him the business because
exactly. Real talk.
Yeah,
I'll share a story.
those are those first stages of learning how to fight, man, in your house.
Exactly.
And
look, they do it in the wild. The lioness teaches their cubs how to fight all day long. So you know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it. That's just all nature.
Hey, in the wild, most female animals are the king of the animals. Don't nobody mess with the lioness. They don't want to go out to do all the hunting and stuff.
Exactly. Real talk.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And the only thing the male lion is for is to protect them from the other men lion. That's about it.
wow,
That's it.
that's interesting how nature even has the same kind of gender.
Yeah, it does. It does. When you look at nature, you can actually find out a whole lot. I've actually learned that throughout my life.
Well, ladies and gents, today I'm smoking on some. Can I get it in there? Hold on, let me get my thing right.
So Romeo and Juliet.
Anyway, they're Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet's cigarillos. So this is not a blunt. It's cigarillo is a cigar, is a small cigar for those who might be wondering. But this is our episode, our part of the podcast, Bellman, that we put some smoke in the air. Now,
I've been doing that all day.
Well, no. This is different here. You probably been doing this too long, knowing you. Now, this segment is when we put some smoke in the air, bro. We're gonna smoke. We're gonna drink. All right. You have to tell a story, being that it's a band story or life story, whatever it's going to be, being that it's funny, indifferent, bad, sad, or bound.
It seems like you got bound stories.
You tell us one of your stories that you got over there, man. Whatever it is, you don't have to say no names. You can say the names, or is whatever, however you want to tell your story.
Yo, flow.
Let's do it.
Go ahead, take it. Go ahead. It's on you.
It's on me.
No, it's on them.
About you, Bill.
So what I'm smoking right. So what I'm smoking right now is a puffy, right? This is a really good CBD. This is a real
bro,
THC.
You might not want to say you smoking on a puffy.
Oh my God!
I would be.
Don't let nobody stop playing on your baby oil, boy.
I would be the butt end of that one. God damn.
But wait, though.
But that's what it is. That's what it is. It's a puffy.
Okay.
Hey, get puffy.
So this is real. This is real THC. No homo.
No diddy.
So I just have a quick question before you segue into your story. Do you find it easier to perform on stage after smoking a puffy, or can you do it just completely sober?
I could do it sober.
Okay.
Easy, but it's that's what I do. This is actually, just a meditative way for me to just wind down. This really doesn't, and how would you say, it doesn't like blur my judgment. I'm not inebriated, Now drinking, on the other hand, that's the worst thing you can do on a gig, to be honest with you, because you can't, your equilibrium is off. Your whole mindset is off. So that's one of the reasons, and I used to drink on gigs as well, and that turned out to be some wild things happening on those gigs. Nothing to land me in jail, But the story I want to share, I was actually married while attending Kentucky State University. So when I got divorced, being that I hadn't really, what do you call it, sowed my wild oats when I was a freshman and all that, I was with this one girl. So I really hadn't gone crazy. So I got divorced and I was wilding the fuck out. I was hitting and missing and I ain't really discriminate at all. I didn't give a fuck. Like, whatever. And I had some fun. Listen. Oh man, listen. I had them in the house, I'm in the apartment, and over one situation, I ended up damn near having to escape that bitch. Like, oh shit, I'm on this bitch too many days. I had to call my frat. I actually called. Who did I call? I think I called. It wasn't you, Herb. I think it might have been Elwin that picked me up. I was like, hey, bro, man, because I didn't have a car at this time. I was trapped. Like, hey, you got to come get me the fuck off from over here. It's been a whole week.
Because we stayed.
But yeah, exactly.
Hey, that just made me think about that. I don't know if y'all told this story. If Black told the story. The walk home with Uche. This is Ville, the roommate that walked in the house.
Oh yes, Flo. Yes.
What happened?
Remember the story I told you when I go to jail and my bro didn't tell nobody he walks in the house and don't tell them, and I was in jail all night.
I do remember that story. That was him.
Listen, but I wasn't the only person that was with him though, so I was drunk as shit. I went straight to bed. I ain't even shit.
That was him. There we go. That
was him. That's it.
Yeah, me and Billy Cool Breeze was just sitting on the couch.
Warren.
Because I was fucked up that night.
Looking at you and judging with my pearls.
Hey, but
so I was fucked up. But anyway, Uche was on a gig. He told everything anyway, so it wasn't like nobody didn't know.
Uche ain't say nothing. Uche went
so
on
right.
Hey, but
that was my bad. I ain't gonna lie, cause he said, "God damn, you ain't tell nobody I was in jail." I said, "Bro, oh shit." And there again, I was fucking with a chick, and that got my whole mind gone because the girl actually picked me up, and I just forgot everything. I was fucked up, real talk, drunk as shit. We all was drunk as shit.
Nah, I was good.
For real. No, you wasn't with us. You wasn't with us.
You talking about who all was in that car?
Yeah, we was fucked up. We was so fucked up. Hey, Reggie was driving fast as hell, music loud than a motherfucker, just howling ass, and the police behind our ass. He didn't even hit the motherfucking siren. He looked up, oh shit, God, my ass, look, my ass got a piss. I'm pissing in front of the police officers and shit on the highway. I'm trying to look. After I finished pissing, I haven't thought about this story in so long. I finished pissing on the side of the highway. I turned around, tried to shake the police hand. He said, I ain't shaking your hand. You just got through pissing.
He like,
It was terrible. It was terrible. That shit was crazy. We walking on the highway. Me and Uche walking on the highway. Drunk as shit with a box of beer in our hand and shit. I went back to the car and got the beer out the car.
Wow.
Like, just wilding. And then Reggie said the police came back to lock our ass up. We were gone.
So
he said he heard them talking.
Huh?
They just took Reggie?
They just took Reggie. We was all fucked up. He said, listen, I took the breathalyzer. He said, damn, his shit higher than yours.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they only took me. And they actually was drunker than me.
Yeah, we were fucked up. Like, we were walking down the highway twisted. Public intoxication.
Now, what police officer you know that's going to allow the passenger of the car get out the car, piss up against the side of the thing, and then try to shake his hand? They was actually telling them to drive my car back. I was like, no, they ain't driving my car. Nope.
That shit crazy. Yeah, we had a fucking good time that night. That shit was wild. We was at the strip club. We been like 2 strip clubs and shit. That shit was crazy. We was wilding out.
Hey,
I think it might have been
food, especially shrimp.
Shrimp. I ain't never had no food in the strip club. That's because I wasn't paying attention to the food. I just thought about that.
If I'm in the strip club, I'm looking at the food because,
I do remember sucking on some salty titties in the strip club. That shit was crazy. That was crazy. I was like, what the hell?
Sorry, those
This shit,
are
these little salty ass titties. What's going on here?
Oh
they
my
was
Little bitty, like little pink nipples.
Hey, that means they was sweaty, dog. She was working.
I know she was like a hard boy.
You should pay some more money if you was tasting sweaty. Just let her not work as hard.
Right.
No, they was actually on us just because I told you it was these fools took me out before I got married. They said, we're gonna take you out, Red, before you get married and shit like this. So they kept telling the owner and all that shit, well, my brother get married, this and that soon, blah, blah, blah. They put me on the stage. They was giving us free drinks. Everything was free lap dance, everything was free. And man, we were just fucked up. We shouldn't even been out.
We were so fucked up. Like God Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Really funny story because it just made me think about the fact that before my brother got married, I ended up at the strip club with him and some other people, and I don't even know why I was there, but I was sending the strippers like, yeah, go over there, get down. I was sending the strippers to him.
It's fun.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right.
Yeah, my brother get
all
married.
day.
Yeah, throw your ass on him, and they like, oh, your brother. I'm like, yeah, that's him right there. Go ahead.
Most strippers go to women first anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna go to the women first anyway. Absolutely.
Reg,
Yo,
remember we got kicked out the damn strip club?
which one? In Atlanta?
The one in Lexington.
That same night?
Me and Eva. No, this was back when we first went to the strip club. I was like right at 19 at the time. I wasn't even old enough to be in that bitch. We all went. It was in Lexington. We all went to Lexington. Me, you, Elvon, a couple other bros, and we're in there like. She's like, "What can I do for you, babe?" I said, "You suck dick." you suck dick. I said, "Your friend nasty. What's he doing?"
They said you was nasty. Like they don't do that. Like people don't.
We got. I mean, look, we're in the strip club. Like,
Go grab her pearls. She grabbed her pearls. Oh,
Hey,
I told you, Flo. Oh, get ready. Get ready.
but look, everyone getting free lap dances and everything. He like, I didn't think I had to pay for that shit. He's like, y'all gotta get out of here. Y'all got to go.
We got kicked out a couple of places before, man, in them your days. I remember we got kicked out.
But that was the first time.
Was you with us when we
I don't think I was. No, I don't think I was. I don't know if you was.
We ended up in there.
When was this? Tell me about this.
This Elvon was in the band at the time. So
how I missed this?
I don't know. Maybe you was.
I don't know where I was. I don't recall.
We went up in that Joker, and they talking about it's $5 every time they get closer to us. So Elvon like, fuck, and let me dance for y'all. He got the pee popping and shit up in there. You know, Elvon get the pee popping.
yes.
Oh my God! He like, y'all ain't gonna charge me. I'm a.
Hey,
Right. I'm gonna bag it up for y'all for this bitch.
Yeah, and we were about 20 deep though. We about 20 deep.
Wow.
And they're like, no, y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go. And everything. So yeah, they kicked us out here too.
I heard about that. I don't think I was on that gig. I remember my fellow saxophone brother Delmas. My pops, we was in Atlanta. You was with us, right, Reg? When my pops took us to that strip club?
Yeah, I was with you.
Yeah, Del was in the back of the truck. We was all fucked up. He throwing up out the back of the truck while we were on the highway. We like, oh shit. But we got to that strip club, boy. We had a funky good time after I threw up too. I had to go throw up in the bushes. Yeah. But after that, boy, we had a funky good time up in that bitch. Drew was with us. Drew couldn't get in because he left his ID.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. Damn, that was some great memories right there, man. Band was really the best part of my life growing up. It has allowed me to do some phenomenal things. I'm still doing music even now, you know. I remember a conversation I had with my major applied teacher when I had to change my major. I had been in school for too long. It was time to go. Was divorced. And he was like, well, you'll never play your instrument again. And the thing I said was, that's not true. And so to still be doing it now, you know, on the level that I'm doing it and I'm still growing, I'm still maturing. It's like a never ending story with this music thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so to still be engaged that way and to see what music is able to allow me to do and allow the room and open doors for me where they would not have been open for someone else, you know.
Yeah,
or for myself in any other situation.
man.
So it's been a really great run.
Being y'all leader, man, as the drum major and stuff like that, because I was always taught by one of my band directors, my high school band director, that said, when you the drum major, you always the drum major, no matter when you're hanging out with them outside of here or not, outside of band room or not. You know what I mean? But just to see y'all, man, how we've all grown and what's going on in people's lives, man, I'm super proud of you, bro, because I know your history. I know where you come from. You know what I'm saying? That background at home. I know your history at K-State. You know what I'm saying? And how you was at
Exactly.
K-State. And I've been with you through both marriages and divorces. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Years and
Yes,
a kid.
sir.
To help furnish your first crib, all of that. You know what I mean? And to see that you
Prince
still,
Hall.
yeah, see that you still gigging. You got your kids, so well, not your kids, but your children, into playing instruments and stuff like that. They gigging and playing instrument, man. It's a beautiful thing to see that cycle of life. You know what I'm saying? Still happening and stuff like that, man. So I definitely want to give you your flowers on this side of the dirt, man. And tell you that I'm proud of you, man. Super proud of you, bro.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. And it's definitely a cycle of life, man. And so a lot of things I've been learning about this generational wealth and about why don't a lot of African Americans have, and we all know why, but then we're able to slowly, incrementally get this and obtain this. And a lot of times it's because we're still entertaining. That's one of our outlets, is to be an entertainer, play sports, because we know if we can make someone feel good, that's going to be a quick route. Hopefully. Now, it doesn't happen for everyone, but even with me, I'm able to live comfortably because although it's my means of supplemental income, it still allows me to be very comfortable to where I'm not hurting for anything, because I know I have these gigs that are going to pay me. These gigs are going to pay me in one day what I'm making, or what some people are making a week, you know what I'm saying, busting their ass somewhere. But then the other side of it is I still have to work, though, because without that main source of income, those contracts can go dry. And now I'm sitting
Right.
here without any contracts, and now I'm freaking out, you know. So that's the double-edged sword with that, though. But at the end of the day, I couldn't have it any other way, man. I'm telling you, it is a blessing. It's a gift, and definitely it's a curse, because you can get so caught up in it to where you close people out. You're not answering your phone. You just kind of get. You remember that story of Leviticus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where this person just went and just practiced their ass off. They just took themselves away from their friends and family, and then they just became such a great musician. Evictus, yes.
Yeah.
And they became this great musician, and they was able to broadcast their talent to the world. And at the end of the day, it wasn't even as pleasing as he thought it was going to be. He didn't think the applause was great enough for all the time he had put in. But once you isolate yourself from people stop knowing you. So that's one of the things that I had to learn, is because I can self-isolate so much and just be in peace with myself, you still have to engage with people, especially in this entertainment business, because if you're not engaging with people, no one's going to know what you're doing, what you're about. And so you have to be your biggest cheerleader at the end of the day. And you have to have a realistic expectation for yourself. And also you have to know where you are, because a lot of times we can actually think we're more than what we really are, And so you have to understand and stay humble, man, because you can lose all sense of being humble when you start seeing the glitz and glamour, because you're an entertainer, how people perceive you, But you have to stay humble, because we're just people. At the end of the day, everybody's on the same page. You got to treat people with respect.
Absolutely. And just with that story itself, man, is isolating yourself. Excuse me. That's what the devil wants to do. That's what he wants us to do. He wants us to isolate ourselves, because once you isolate yourself, then you don't have nobody to help you fight these demons and stuff that we go through and that we're
That's right.
On the
It's
daily
dangerous.
basis. It's most dangerous. He wants us to isolate ourselves. So yes, you ain't making no friends. Nobody don't know what you're doing. And while you isolate yourself, talking about you about to make the greatest music don't pass you by.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like you still working on music 1980. It's 2024. You know what I'm saying? Music is
That's so
changing.
true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything that's different in your life today than when you was in your 20s? Are you a different man? Do you know how?
Yeah. Listen, just the knowledge that I have, I have always been an inquisitive person, just by nature. We're all inquisitive, but my level of being inquisitive is just I have to know everything. As soon as I get a thought, I gotta research it. I gotta understand why it's the way it is. And when I did my research, and in my research, it all goes back to the same thing. So, and it's life. Someone took it from here and borrowed it and took it and did this and took it and did that and took it and did that. And so it's just a different iteration of what has already been put down as far as like the knowledge and why we're here, nature. We have to coexist with nature, but people don't understand that. They don't understand how it's all connected. But just having that knowledge and to know that, hey, I don't have to get angry because somebody said something that I didn't like. Because once somebody allows you to get angry based on what they're saying, they control you. And that's so true. They control you. And once you're angry, you're really not thinking level-headed with a level head.
That's right.
You're thinking with rage. And with rage, you don't see anything.
Yeah. Now,
and then you wake up out of that. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say something like, I remember a time before anybody, the industry got off onto this, talking about the Illuminati. This man right here was the first person in life ever spoke on it. And we be at the frat house like, man, what the fuck? You always on some different shit talking about looking up you coming up with, you know what I mean? We were just dissing. We was dissing, joning him out and stuff like that. So he even I remember he had a picture that he printed out. He had it on the wall or some shit. So all of us can see it every time we walk past it and shit like that. That's that Illuminati shit and stuff like that. I didn't know what he was talking about. Now everybody knows about Illuminati and talk about Illuminati. Well, you people really don't know what Illuminati is.
They just heard, like they just know the name.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But I remember that when he was saying that, the way he thinks, he always have thought outside the box. Always thought outside the box. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, man,
and even with that Illuminati stuff, man, that's a mindset. It was an organization, and the organization penetrated another organization. And so at the end of the day, they respected that organization. So you were able to become a member of the Illuminati quicker that way. But at the end of the day, they still took it from a main source at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it's about self-empowerment. It ain't about the devil and all this. You can make it what you want to make it, but at the end of the day, and that's why I had to find out exactly what was that all about, because I'm like, what's this Satan? Why are they associating this with Satanism? And it's nowhere near that. You know what I mean? So that's why you have to learn, because once you learn, no one can fool you, and you don't, pick a side, and it's not even the side that you should be even on. That's right. A lot of times we choose an identity that is not even ours because of what we've been taught, and we are not thinking, how did we even get in this position? And once you start understanding that whole concept, it's like, damn, this world is crazy. I can say some controversial things, but I'm not. But one mistake that one can do is when you leave your home and try to establish a home somewhere else, that's not your home. Mm-hmm. So if I leave here, that's anywhere. I leave here and try to establish my house somewhere else that I'm not from, and just put myself there because I have the power to do so, it's always going to lead to chaos.
Always.
That makes sense. Always.
So,
Hey,
so
man,
only go where you're welcome.
Hey, remember that night, bro? We went. I told you, come on, Bill, come ride with me. I said, bring your axe with you. Now, when I say bring your axe, that means bring his instrument.
In Detroit, you talking about Detroit?
Not Detroit. We was in Frankfurt. We was in Frankfurt.
Okay.
And we went down on Home Street. I said, I seen this bar down on Home Street. Let's hit this bar down on Home Street. We was on Home Street. We walked up in there, man. It was nothing but the ghetto boys. Remember, it was all white folks up in there. And I got you. I convinced you to get up there and rap and stuff. And I got the.
Listen, I remember that. I couldn't even remember my lyrics, dude. I was like, that's one thing I learned about me.
Yeah, I did karaoke. They thought I was Keith Sweat.
Hey,
Red. Nobody.
That's what I was singing too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that. And look, because of my condition, I realized why it was hard for me to retain information, because I had to hear stuff over and over and over again before I retain it. And so that was the issue. I couldn't understand why I was doing that, and I remember doing that same thing with the X-File talent show the second year. I couldn't remember my verse. And I was like, man, why is that? But I found out the reason behind it. And so now with that understanding, I understand why my brain acts or why my brain is the way it is. My brain, why I think the way I think, and that was an eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah, I agree with
When I
that.
used to perform and I would forget. I remember doing a show at an open mic and I was singing something by Lettucey, forgot the whole second verse, and just started
Right.
freestyling about this lady with some purple boots on. And that was what got the attention because whatever it was, I was like, these purple boots, whatever. And I started pointing at them, everybody looking and like, oh, snapping because it was rhyming. It was matching
That's
the
what's
lyrics.
up.
But I was like, I didn't forgot the matter of fact, I led into that saying, I didn't forgot the next line. Look at these shoes, she looks fine, something like that. And it worked in that moment,
That's improvisation right there, and that's what I've learned to do is to be able to improvise really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when no one even know you messed up,
Well, marching band teach you that. That's one of the things that marching band teaches you too. You know what I'm saying?
Jazz definitely teaches you that for sure.
Yeah.
Improvisation, coming up out the fly, freestyle, and all that. That's a freestyle, like she was saying.
That's all it is.
Music, period.
Yeah. And I did it another time at an open mic, and I was singing a Jill Scott song, and it went into a worship in the middle of the bar. Hilarious. But I think the only reason that went that direction is because I had people who were musicians behind me who also played in church. So when the vibe hit, it just hit all of us, and that's where it went. And at the end of the night, 2 girls came up crying, "Oh my gosh, I just love this." And I was like, "Hey, that's where it went." So
that's what's up.
That's
what music does, right? All day.
I heard you heard.
What her say?
Music charms.
Music
charms the soul.
All day.
That's it.
It's very therapeutic, though.
Yeah.
What's some of your how do you get ready for a gig now, man? What's your routine?
You have to prepare yourself. I just posted something the other day. That we said while we were, learning about learning information. Prior planning prevents poor performance. Absolutely. So you have to always practice. You can't, especially as a musician, you can, but it won't be good. But if you go a week without practicing your material, then you all of a sudden have a gig that you have to do. Now you're trying to cram 20 songs, So what I do is each day I practice over at least one song, practice my scales still, practice soloing over the material that I'm going to be performing so that I'm not totally making it up as I go along. I'm familiar with the chord changes and things of that nature. Yeah. And so just planning it out, getting into my mixer, doing what we call dialing it in, getting the reverb right, getting the delay just right. So when you're performing in a room, it sounds like it's on the radio. That's been a science within itself that I had to learn in regards to sound production, because I'm my own sound production. I have my own mixer, my speakers and all that when I'm doing my own thing. But when I'm playing with another band, I don't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. But in preparation, that's what I'm doing. I'm making sure I know the material. I'm rehearsing. I'm even going back to the fundamentals just to make sure I'm conceptualizing everything right. How's my embouchure? Is this the right embouchure? Just continuing looking at videos just to make sure that I'm in the mix with everything else. And then when it's performance time, it's not as hard, and in my past, you get so busy with working a full-time job and really not focusing on that passion. And that's why they say he that chases 2 rabbits catches neither, right? Woo. Because you're going after these 2 rabbits and you're not, jack of all trades is a master of none, all that. And so I truly understand that, because since I've been a full-time musician after losing my previous job, I have grown so much more because I've had more time to be intimate with my saxophone. And so I've developed into another phase. Now I had to give it a job again because the savings was running out. I'm like, damn, I got to have some consistency coming in, and I was just burning through my savings. So now I'm back to working a full-time job. But, the universe is amazing because the job is 3 minutes down the road. It's 10 minutes to get there. I get off at 2:00. So here I still have my time to create and practice and prepare.
As creative people, I feel like we must keep that outlet. Whether we figure out a way to work a full-time job so we can get consistent money and then we still create on the side, or make our creativity our full-time, however weeks to work out, we have to have space for that as creative people, because I feel like you just kind of die on the inside if you don't,
Now you're right. And the key to this is doing it when you're young, though. because you don't accumulate so many responsibilities. Once you get older, you have responsibilities, so you have to know what that balance is. And I say this because had I started really understanding what I could be musically at a younger age, when I had that time, because you think about it, I got married, had 2 kids, so I really wasn't able to just do me like do me. I had to be, and I could have, but that just wasn't where my mind was. My mind was to be there for my children, be there for my wife, you know, and do it that route.
Right.
Which is it was still great because I'm still doing music, but as for me, being that I'm an instrumentalist, it's easier that I'm older and it's not as hard because it allows me to go into different avenues. Because I still like to rap. I put out a 30-second rap clip on my Instagram page. You know, it was cool. Did the beat and everything. But I know that's what's not really paying the bills right now, so I have to stay on top of my craft, which is just being a saxophonist. But that still is a sad way because I'm able to be creative that way, and nobody can tell me not to. And it's Instagram, so I can post it and be done with it. You know, that's what I love about those platforms. I can still be creative in that way, and still go here and be professional on my saxophone and do CDs and things of that nature. So that's what I'm working on next. Is I'm really gonna actually hone myself in and do a jazz CD, smooth jazz.
That's what's up.
So I've been doing some things subtly. You know, you got some stuff out there on YouTube. I mean Instagram, Facebook,
Okay. That's
where
what's
you
up.
can hear me actually playing. I actually just covered what is that song by Shaka Khan? Damn,
I just thought
one of her most famous ones.
Ain't nobody.
that's what I
Yes, ain't nobody. Yep, that one right there.
Yeah.
I just actually put it out there on my Facebook page, and it's doing really well. You know, I'm playing a tenor saxophone on that, and that's the way that I advertise. I say, hey, if you have a gig or a party, consider hiring Warren Saxx, and then I give you that 30-second clip of me performing that song, and it sounds really good.
Now, are you I seen you DJing on YouTube as well. So are you doing
Yes.
DJ and your sax things at these gigs?
So let's say this: I am an aspiring DJ, right? So I'm learning the fundamentals, but again, he that chases 2 rabbits catches neither. So I'm learning that so that I can one day go into that realm, and then I'm a lot more marketable that way. But yes, I'm DJing. Now, let somebody say, "Hey, Warren, we need a DJ." Then I'm already ready to go. I'm already equipped. I'm already skilled. I know what I'll be doing. And in that regard, you got to know where your price point is, though. You know, because I'm new to this, I can't go and charge $175 an hour, right? Like I do with the saxophone. I would say I could do it for $50. You know what I mean? Because what that's going to do is anything that you're becoming professional in, there's levels, and you have to understand that levels and growth. So you just have to understand where you are as far as the market. Don't try to be more than where you are. Say, oh, I'm gonna charge $200 an hour, bro. You can't even beat beat match right now. You know, so you just have to know where you are and you'll be successful. A lot of times I remember Tank Davis told the last guy he bossed that he should have waited, because sometimes we think we're ready and we're truly not. You know, and that's the balancing act. And so that's why it's so good to have people that can talk to you, that's going to give you some honest assessment to help you understand where you are, because sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we just gotta have our own thought in our head, and if no one is telling us, we just assuming, you know.
People around us that can give us constructive, real life criticism, and we not take offense. It's
Exactly that part.
You know,
That part.
Some people really just, hey, you're not ready. Go practice a little more, and you got to be able to receive it and go practice, and not be like, you just being a. You know, some people can. You just being a hater. You just jealous. No, not necessarily. That's not the case for everybody. You know.
And that's
so true.
That's even in life too. You know what I'm saying? As brothers and things.
Yes,
like
sir.
Because Bill is part of my story of changing my life. All right. The night that everything happens, the beginning of what everything happens, after the first part of my journey that began, there's a second part. The second part, I make it home. And then he gives me a phone call and he's going ham. Fuck this bitch. I'm gonna hurt this bitch. Boom, boom, bang, bang. Bro, calm down. And I talked him down off the edge. Like, you cool? Because I don't need you going to jail tonight, bro. You waited in North Carolina, I'm waiting in Florida. I can't come get you out of jail. Right? And I'm calm, bro. I'm calm. I'm glad I talked to you. All right, I'll talk to you later. Click. And then I took my ass back out. And that's when the whole journey really begins and shit like that. But he's part of that journey. And whenever I'm telling my story of my journey of how I changed my life, he's always in it because I tell that part of it, because that is part of it. And it's like, man, if I'd have just stayed my ass home like I told him to stay his ass home, then maybe I wouldn't have done it. But I needed to go out to get in that trouble in order for my life to change. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm always grateful. People like, Reg, you crazy saying that you grateful that that happened to you. No, I'm grateful that happened to me, because if it wouldn't have happened to me, then I would have not changed my life. That helped me change my life.
That. They
Yeah,
didn't understand
absolutely.
no pain or understand anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need that pain and that struggle to know that what you're doing is wrong. So sometimes you need that.
Yeah. So absolutely, man. Well, we at the
Well, I'm
part.
actually going on 6 years clean, or I should say 6 years sober myself, coming
That's
up in
what's up.
November.
That's what's up,
What's
man.
up?
That's what's up.
It's been
Well,
an
we at
amazing
the
journey.
part of this podcast, bro, where you get to build your perfect band, your perfect marching band from top to bottom, from band director all the way back to the percussionists. Where would you get them from? What school they come from? How would you build this band? It's on you.
Wow. See, I'm gonna have to think about it in the fact that who has the greatest retention. I'm out of the mix. So I'm just gonna be
No, it don't
upfront.
have to
I'm
be about
probably
now.
not gonna.
It don't have to be about now. Just any point of your life, any point that you remember.
So
Who
any
would be
part
your
of
band?
my
Yeah, who
okay,
would be
any
your
part of
band?
my life that I remember, my band director would actually be my high school band director, Mr. Moore, for
Okay.
sure. Very cool, calm, collected guy. Was a drum major for Morris Brown. You know, uh, so most definitely him. As far as my sax session, I would have my homeboy Dexter, who, he actually retired from the military not too long ago, but he's still doing his thing on saxophone as well. So it'll be him. Trumpet player. Who was one of my homie in the band in high school, Sanchez, on trumpet for sure. At the end of the day, it would be all my high school homies.
That's what's up.
When I think about it,
Hey,
What
that's
about
what's
your
up.
percussion section? Who gonna be your percussion?
have to have Sakari. The bitch reach out to Sakari, Shannon, my number 12 for sure. Had to get Shannon.
Hmm.
That's about it.
What about tubas?
Son, Elvon.
Okay.
All these
I
names,
remember Elvon.
I'm like, okay, yep, I know that name.
Yeah, I remember Elvon, boy, that Looney Tune Joker, boy. He got pissed off one band rehearsal, threw his damn mouthpiece and knocked the damn lady knee out. I was like, damn, that boy
Yeah,
was fucking shot out. But he was a real friend. But anyway, is a real friend. Brother actually.
that's right. What about your drum major?
Steve, Reggie for sure. Most definitely. But see, Reggie, when we came up, man, we had that fight. The upperclassmen against the freshmen.
Oh yeah.
They
Wow.
brought us in that room. We was like,
Yeah,
fuck it, let's go. It was
yeah,
no, they had up, I ain't gonna lie, they had us pinned. Everybody was locked down. It was
yeah,
like everybody was locked to a stand. It was a wrap. Nobody was
yeah,
moving nowhere. It
yeah.
was like
I
everybody
remember.
was on the ground, head locked, foot locked, something. It was
I remember.
Damn, we tore that room up. But definitely
Yeah.
Reggie. I can't remember. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
All right. Your dancing girls.
I remember this nice hot young thing in high school, but that's girls. I don't remember any names, man. I don't even want to even go through that.
Okay. What about schools? J State girls, Alcorn girls. Southern
Well,
girls.
in high school we always was talking about Jackson State, so it would have to be the Jackson State girls for
All right. What
sure.
about flags? What about flags?
Crim High School, AAC baby.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Hey,
But see, that's a hard question because I haven't thought of, with my retention span, I lose focus on, like, it's like you could tell me your name, right? And if I'm not interested, I wouldn't even remember that shit 5 seconds from now.
But you
I'm
just
the same
remember the high school bands out there,
I'm the
though,
same
bro.
way, bro. I'm the same way. I tell people in a minute. I go around the room, and it better not be more than 2 people.
Right. Oh, listen.
As soon as I get to the end, I'm gonna say, don't charge it to the heart, because I ain't gonna remember nobody's name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have to actually focus on you, you know?
For me, it's got to be something on top about you that stood out. Not even necessarily dramatic, but something about you had to stand out for me to remember, you know?
Right. And I have to just focus. Like, if I focus on the person, it's easier for me. But in passing, just like, hey, what's up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Did you have?
But no, it's been great. Go ahead.
Did any of y'all have band crushes?
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, day.
Do they still look good to this day? Have you seen them recently?
Nope. I do. I recall this one band crush. It was amazing. We was on this damn band trip in high school, and I ended up sitting by this girl. Man, we had such a good time. That shit was crazy. Like, we was already dating, but I had a girlfriend at the time, so I was like, oh, like, oh.
What's wrong with you?
But that was cool. That was a cool experience.
Jamila.
That was my band bestie. She still think you. Might have to hook y'all up. See what happens.
Jamila, all right. Still all right.
She didn't age. I'm about to say, yeah, she aged a bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Herb don't have crushes and shit, because know,
Herb,
if I like you, I liked you. If I ain't like you, I ain't like you. You know, the way that life is set up, I'm good with what I got right now. I don't have no crush. Fuck
Herb, congratulations on the marriage again, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
I was shocked. I said, wait a minute, what the fuck happened? He said, yeah, that's my wife. I said, oh, damn, that's what's up. It's funny how the world turns.
Yeah.
You know, I was excited. I was like, that's what's up. Like, man, you know, behind a good man is always a great woman, and vice versa. And you can kind of tell when somebody's good, because they balance out, and it's like a different personality that takes over.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's good for them. But yeah, back in the day, I thought D Nuck was gonna kill your ass if he found out about that damn lease.
I wasn't gonna say nothing about none of that. I wasn't gonna say nothing about none of that.
Flo, I told you, baby, I've had a funky good time in life, man. Look,
I really got.
Hey, she was cool people though.
We go down south to school now. Y'all just brought it all back up for me.
Now everybody didn't have these type of experiences.
But
Everybody didn't have these. You know, we were just some characters, man. We were characters. You know what I mean? We were some characters back then. That's why I'm glad.
Yeah, we were all going band guys though. That's the thing, band guys. You know, always putting on the show and not even meaning to it, just because that's what we're used to doing. You know.
Yeah.
When you think about it, we always band guys and girls for sure. You know, we always entertaining.
There ain't no nerdy stuff going on in all these bands like they be putting out on the commercials and
all that kind of stuff. Exactly.
We geeks and all that. Nah, man, it's real life thing going on.
Yeah, my band friends we wasn't band geeks. Like, that's the term you use to describe us, but there wasn't nothing geeky about us. We was the cool kids.
Right. Well, we say it was band geeks, so we was geeked about the band. Hell.
Yeah.
Get geeked in the band.
Right. Exactly.
That's only geeks we got going on.
Hey, we'll whoop your ass.
Absolutely, in a minute. Right, for real.
For real.
There's all kind of guys up in that motherfucking bedroom, man. It's all
hell yeah, for different walks of life.
Different walks of life. Absolutely. Hey man, I want to thank you, man, for jumping on this podcast, man, taking time out your day, especially that you're about to gig. It's like I said, it's a blessing, and to see you still doing great, to see you still standing upright, man. You know what I mean? You know, we go back, bro. We go back. We got stories and stories for days. You know, some things that we can't even talk about on this podcast. You know what I mean? But thank you, man, for doing this with us and everything like that. We appreciate you.
Well, I would like to say thank you, Herb. Thank you, Fancy and Reg. Appreciate you, man. It's been real. And you know what I'm saying? 3 keys all day. If you don't know what that means, you better ask somebody. Let's go.
100. Shine that light on you, baby.